YouTube, hey, Slugfest Wizard here. I know this is really late. I never got my predictions out about the UFC 141 Brock Lesnar versus Alistair Overeem card, but I'm going to tell you all who I picked, who I predicted was going to win, and what I thought of the card all in all. So let's jump on into this. Okay, the preliminary bouts were kind of, on the verge of being a bit forgettable, but there were basically three big things that happened this night that I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to get my thoughts about what this does for the rest of mixed martial arts in the year 2012. Happy New Year, guys. So, okay. Main event. Alistair Overeem defeats Brock Lesnar, and then of course, you guys all know, the big story out there is that Brock Lesnar is now retired from mixed martial arts after this loss. TKO first round, liver kick to the body, and Alistair Overeem finished him off with punches, but some people are surprised. They're saying, especially on Yahoo, that Lesnar retiring from mixed martial arts is a shocker because, he's the highest earning fighter in mixed martial arts, or he was back in, it was either 2009 or, no, it was either 2010 or 2011, in which he made about, $5 million. That's pretty good. So he's doing great financially, but, he's going to spend time with his family and all that stuff, but I personally am not surprised about this. Ever since his fights with Shane Carwin and his fight with Cain Velasquez, it was clear that Brock Lesnar was starting to rethink mixed martial arts and what he wanted to do for a living, and it was clear that he just didn't want to get hit. Who did I pick? I picked Alistair Overeem. He's had 47 fights. Brock Lesnar has only had 7 or 8. And really, the fight went pretty much exactly how I thought it was. Junior Dos Santos, as long as he is able to stuff any of Alistair Overeem's takedowns, and as long as he's able to hit him enough early on, then he'll probably win that fight. Hopefully, now the UFC can maybe build Alistair Overeem up and turn him into their real cash cow, because unlike Lesnar, Overeem is a legit top heavyweight fighter. And he could be a big star. One of the comments posted at 411 MMA said, "Oh, Lesnar lost to some no-name," and I was reading that, and the first thing that came to my mind was that if you're calling Alistair Overeem a no-name, and you don't deserve to be posting on a mixed martial arts blog, because he's not. Alright, next bout. Nate Diaz versus Donald Cerrone. Okay, before I get into this, let me just say this out there. I picked Donald Cerrone to win this fight, and I was pretty confident about it. Donald Cerrone had already fought 4 times, and he was 4-0 in the UFC, and he was really tearing it up and doing good things in the lightweight division, and quickly building himself into a star. And he then comes in against Nate Diaz with a pretty terrible game plan. His game plan, I guess, was to just stand in front of Nate Diaz and get punched in the face. He made almost no takedown attempts. I think even if he had, I don't think that Nate Diaz would have been able to have really truly threatened him off the back. But whatever it was, Nate Diaz has decent submissions off of his back. But Nate Diaz got the good win. This is good win for him. I think Donald Cerrone could have won this fight if he had changed up his game plan and did things differently. Rory McDonald was able to out-wrestle him. Dong Hyun Kim, Gray Maynard, Joe Stevenson, and Clay Guida were also able to all beat Nate Diaz. And his boxing looked really good. And this one fight of the night, and honestly, I was surprised about that, because I thought that the Dong Hyun Kim Sean Pearson fight looked like that would have won the fight of the night. So that was a pretty good win for Nate Diaz, and maybe the adrenaline dump got to Donald Cerrone and he just froze, and Nate Diaz got inside his head, because Donald Cerrone has been known to do that. So what's next for him? Maybe give him, let me see, Anthony Njokuani. Alright, John Fitch versus Johnny Hendricks. Wow. This had to have been for me, this was the shocking moment of the night. I don't think anybody expected this to happen, you know. John Fitch was 13-1-1 going into this fight with Johnny Hendricks and was very vocal about only fighting champions or former champions, and he was widely recognized as the second best welterweight in the world. And I thought to myself, there's no way that Johnny Hendricks can really win this fight. And what does Johnny Hendricks do? He goes in there and knocks out John Fitch in the first round in just 12 seconds with the first punch he throws, with a left hook. And Fitch was so out of it after the fight was over, he started grappling with the referee. That was a serious win for Johnny Hendricks and a serious boost in his stock too. This is terrible for John Fitch. He'll probably never get a title shot again right now, because already he's kind of skating on thin ice with Dana White. And Dana White knows that John Fitch is not the most casual, fan-friendly type of fighter. But this is the first time in a while that the welterweight division has had a real shake-up. So Johnny Hendricks, whether this was a lucky punch or not remains to be seen, because John Fitch really never had shown himself to be the type of guy that would get caught easily. But yeah, what is up with George St. Pierre's previous opponents getting finished so quickly and easily after they lose to him? You know, Thiago Alves, he lost to Rick Story. Dan Hardy, he gets knocked out in the first round pretty easily by Carlos Condit. Jake Shields got knocked out in less than a minute by Jake Ellenberger, and now John Fitch lost to Johnny Hendricks. So, I guess this means that Mike Pierce is going to knock out Josh Koscheck in like 5 seconds in his next fight. So, there you go. For Johnny Hendricks, maybe give him the loser of the Nick Diaz-Carlos Condit fight. Okay. Alexander Gustafsson versus Vladimir Metyushenko. Other than Phil Davis, Alexander Gustafsson is probably one of the most promising prospects in the light heavyweight division. I picked him to win this fight, and at 2 minutes and 35 seconds, he stops Vladimir Metyushenko with strikes. You know, he caught Metyushenko with a straight left that Metyushenko just kind of walked into, and he finished him off from there. Alexander Gustafsson has really been impressing me a lot. The Swedish mixed martial artist fighter is now, I think he's 5-1 in the UFC, and so far he has not failed to finish a fight. He's never been to a unanimous decision in the UFC. He, knocked out Jared Hammond. He lost to Phil Davis, which is his only loss. And by the way, just for the record, I actually think that Alexander Gustafsson would probably defeat Phil Davis if they fought again. Provided he doesn't get, anaconda choked. And then he choked out Cyril Diabate, he choked out James Tahuna, finished off Matt Hamill, and now he beat Vladimir Metyushenko. Yep, right now he's 5-1, and in his entire career he's only been to a unanimous decision one time, so he is really looking impressive, and he's looking like a true serious contender, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again. And as for Metyushenko, this is a tough spot. Metyushenko, so far he's good enough to be around. Metyushenko is good enough to hang around and be a true solid gatekeeper and beat a lot of guys. He's going to lose to guys like John Jones or Javier Nogueira, Andrei Arlovsky back in September 2003, and like that. But this isn't terrible for him. He just needs to not walk into shots as much, and he needs to not be too relaxed. So sometimes. Okay, Nam Phan versus Jimmy Hennis. I picked Nam Phan to win this, but Jimmy Hennis reminded me why he is undefeated. That first round, he looked really good. He seemed like he surprised Nam Phan with his strength, his judo takedowns, and his solid ground and pound that he has. Mostly, what I can say about Nam Phan is that he takes a lot of shots, and he's really tough and really stubborn. But, yeah. This is the first time that he had also that Jimmy Hedges had been to a unanimous decision, coming off of his submission victory over Alex Caceres at the Hardy vs. Lytle event. Hedges needs to, I think, work on his conditioning a bit more, you know, his stamina. He does kind of gas a little bit, and he needs to, you know, check those shots more. He needs to try to not get hit too much. Alright, as for the rest of the card, Ross Pearson defeated Junior Sungao. Danny Castillo defeated Anthony Njokuani. Dong Hyun Kim defeated Sean Pearson in a really fun fight. Jacob Volkman defeated Efren Escudero, and then proceeded once again to mention Barack Obama after his fight and his dislike for the man. But yeah, Volkman got another win. That's good. Let's see. And Diego Nunes got a good win over Manny Gambarian. That's it for UFC 141. Okay event, not that good. I mean, it was an okay event, not great, nothing special, with the exception of Brock Lesnar retiring and Jimmy Hedges capturing one of the most important wins at welterweight in a long time. And next January 14th, we've got Jose Aldo fighting undefeated Chad Mendes in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Looking forward to that card. Mostly due to the main event and the co-main event, but a decent looking show all around, so that's it for right now. This is Slugfest Wizard signing off.